Terrifier 3 director Damien Leone has just teased to fans that they filmed one of the most horrific sequences in franchise history. On top of that, I have reason to believe that this Christmas slasher will bleed into New Year's Eve. Let's talk about all of these crazy updates and theories.
Now hear them!
Welcome to the KillJoy Jake YouTube channel. My name is Poop McGiggles, and today we're talking about a nasty old clown. Alright, so to do a little bit of recap. Last November, we learned that Terrifier 3 will be a Christmas slasher continuing the story of Sienna Shaw fighting the evil Art the Clown. We also got this hilarious behind-the-scenes video at Staten Island Mall where David Howard Thornton was in full Art the Clown makeup, doing a scene for the flick. Let's roll that right now.
You don't see this or
Wait, guys, look, we saw the camera's guy shirt. It says Terrifier 2, so I'm pretty sure they're coming out with a Terrifier 3.
We've also learned that a lot of the main characters in Terrifier 3 will be Sienna Shaw's extended family, like her aunt, uncle, and cousin. That's gonna come back a little later during the theory portion of this video, don't forget it. Chekhov's extended family, if you will. But yesterday, director Damien Leone and David Howard Thornton made some very interesting posts about a sequence that they just filmed. Damien Leone tweeted from the set of Terrifier 3, "Can honestly say we just filmed one of the most insanely horrific scenes of the Terrifier franchise, and you'll never believe who couldn't handle it on set. The BTS is hilarious, can't wait for you all to see." A fan also asked, will we be able to see that behind the scenes, to which Damien Leone responded, yes. Who was that person on set who couldn't handle this over-the-top kill? Well, it might have been Art the Clown himself, because David Howard Thornton kind of outed himself over on Facebook. Talking about this day on set, David Howard Thornton says, "I will just say that this is the kill that almost made me vom. That's a first." So there's a kill in Terrifier 3 that is so gross that even Art the Clown can't handle it. This is the guy who has chopped somebody in half vertically from vagina down, and the same fella who had an absolute blast of a Saturday night ripping up a teenage girl for like maybe 20 minutes of screen time. I don't think I'm exaggerating there. That's great to hear, because not only am I excited to see what this kill actually is, I want to see David Howard Thornton gag. That made me sound really fucking weird. To put your mind at ease as well on if this kill will actually top anything from the previous two films, Fuzz on the Lens Productions posted on their Instagram story recently a picture of a tarp filled with fake blood. So this scene will be nothing short of disgusting, I think. Who's gonna be disappointed with that amount of blood? Come on now. Now, while all of that is exciting, I do have a very interesting theory that I want to pitch about this film concerning a brand new post from Damien Leone over on his Instagram. Damien recently posted this video that is completely bloodless, but shows the crew cleaning up a staircase as he pans down to a shot from Forrest Gump of Lieutenant Dan sad during New Year's Eve. Now, this is a picture that's taped to the director's monitor. Maybe I'm overthinking this, which I usually do, but it makes me think that they're trying to capture the same vibe as that scene from Forrest Gump, which I'll talk a little bit about so that you kind of understand, in case you haven't seen Forrest Gump, in which case, what are you doing? It's like one of the best movies ever made, dog. I can't believe I have to say this in a Terrifier 3 update, but spoilers for Forrest Gump ahead. While serving overseas in Forrest Gump, Lieutenant Dan loses his legs, to which Forrest Gump saves him, and he's not exactly super happy about that. Dude just wanted to die in the jungle after losing his legs, but Forrest saved him anyways, because he's kind-hearted. Now, a little later on in the film, Lieutenant Dan kind of resents Forrest Gump, especially during this New Year's sequence where he's belittling the guy. Forrest is pretty oblivious to this and is just having a fun time on New Year's. So there's two things I've taken away from this. I do believe that at some point in Terrifier 3, most likely the end credits sequence, we are going to bleed into New Year's Eve. It's a holiday that is only 6 days after Christmas. I don't think it's too far of a stretch, considering that the plot description for this film reads, Art the Clown unleashes chaos on the unsuspecting residents of Miles County as they peacefully drift off to sleep on Christmas Eve. Now, we already know that this film isn't only going to take place on the night of Christmas Eve, morning of Christmas. As you guys saw earlier, Art the Clown is at a shopping mall at some point, so it's not going to just take place on the night of Christmas Eve and the morning of Christmas, essentially. They literally filmed this during the day. There's gotta be more to it than just that. My other big takeaway is that relationship between Lieutenant Dan and Forrest Gump at that point in the movie. Now, obviously, their relationship gets a lot better as the movie goes on, but at that specific point, there is a bit of resentment. I'm looking at the relationship like this. Lieutenant Dan is Sienna by the time we get to the ending of Terrifier 3, where Forrest Gump is more like Art the Clown. I know, weird, but bear with me here. Remember Remember how earlier I told you that a lot of the main characters of Terrifier 3 are going to be Sienna Shaw's extended family? Well, I don't think they're exactly living through this one. I think Terrifier 3 is going to be like the Halloween Kills of this franchise, where Art the Clown essentially comes out on top by the time we get to the end. I'm speculating here that the rest of Sienna's family is going to die in this film, including her uncle, her aunt, her cousin maybe. That's really fucked up because she's super young. And even Jonathan Shaw, a main character from the previous film. And why do I think that? For a couple reasons here. Damien is sick and twisted and likes to kill the majority of his characters. Look at the last two Terrifier films. I'm not complaining, I love horror movies like that. I'm just spitting facts. On top of that, Jonathan was attacked at the end of Terrifier 2, but survived the encounter. You might remember another character who survived an encounter with Art the Clown and ended up turning into an evil killer herself, even birthing out the head of Art the Clown out of her woohoo. Her vag, dog. We're just gonna call it that. So if the rest of her extended family is dead and Jonathan is now a killer clown, Sienna's probably gonna be pretty sad, even if she does somehow escape this situation by the time the credits roll. I could see the last shot of the movie being Sienna Shaw just breaking down into tears, so upset over everything that has happened. Maybe she does defeat Art the Clown and the rest of his clown posse. The Terrifier franchise is turning into an ICP concert real fast, but she's not exactly gonna be the happiest fella by the time the credits roll on this one, very similar to Lieutenant Dan's situation mid-Forrest Gump movie. I can already see them utilizing that same juxtaposition in Forrest Gump here in Terrifier 3. It's New Year's Eve, everybody's celebrating about a new year, but Sienna Shaw is just completely broken at this point. It's that kind of trauma though that I think is going to build her into an even stronger final girl. It's that trauma though that I think is going to build her into an even stronger final girl for part 4. Damien Leone has already teased to us that a part 4 is probably happening. What better way to set it up? This is just a great way to set up a good triumph in your final act though, which Terrifier 3 just feels like the middle part of a long story, based off of everything we already know about it. I mean, if Sienna Shaw is like down in the dumps by the time this one ends, think about how the ending of Terrifier 4 could be super triumphant and uplifting. Maybe we learned something in Terrifier 3 about Art the Clown's origins, which may be his kryptonite. That could be utilized in part 4 to ultimately take this fucker down. Because we didn't learn too much from Terrifier 2, but we did learn that you can't kill Art the Clown by cutting off his head. There's something else that needs to happen. I think that answer lies with the little pale girl, but we'll just have to see what Terrifier 3 ends up setting up. Today's Terrifier 3 update has me so unbelievably excited for this upcoming threequel, man. I mean, learning that there's gonna be an even more horrific sequence than anything we've really seen before in the past has me hyped, and I kind of love the idea on hitting on a surprise holiday like that. It's not exactly something we're expecting from a Christmas slasher. I don't know if that's gonna happen or not. It is just a theory, a game theory.
Don't you just love New Year's? You can start all over. Everybody gets a second chance.
But what do you guys think about that? Are they trying to capture that same energy of Lieutenant Dan in that sequence in Forrest Gump? Or do you think I'm just reading into things a little too much? Leave me something about it in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching this brand new Terrifier 3 update. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more horror content in the future. Please consider supporting me on Patreon by clicking that link in the description below. And as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.